Welcome back to Fox Sports Radio 1450 and 92.7. Chris Stratton here with Taylor Featherman as we have the call in the booth for the championship game between the Idaho Lewiston Clark Twins versus Montana Missoula Mavericks. The winner moves on to a championship game to the World Series of Legion Baseball in Shelby, North Carolina, the 10th through the 15th. Hi, everyone. Taylor Featherman here with me, and we also have a special guest in the booth. You won't hear him, but I want to let everybody know that our phenomenal Cherry Creek Media producer, RJ Hens, has joined us in the booth as well.
Big morale boost there.
Big morale boost for us. We needed somebody to back us up here in the booth,
agree.
and having RJ here has been a great boost to have. So wanted to mention that he was in here. He does so much for what we do at Cherry Creek Media. He's behind the scenes with production, and he deserves a shout out for all the hard work he does. Hardworking man. Also, he is the PA announcer for the Missoula Ospreys, so he does double duty. We get set here on our game, and we'll go into our starting lineup here. Our leadoff batter will be the second baseman, number 2, James Martin, Mr. Consistency, and he's got the perfect spot in the lineup, Taylor, as the starting batter, just the way he's been so consistent.
Yeah, Chris, I mean, you're absolutely right. James Martin has been doing just a phenomenal job so far in this tournament. So far up until this point, batting .478. That's all 4 games. All 4 games started. 23 total at-bats, 11 hits in those at-bats, 7 runs produced, 2 doubles, a triple, 4 RBIs, Chris, and he's even walked a couple of times. I mean, just like you said, Mr. Consistent, and not only do we see him being very consistent up at the plate with his bat, but also defensively, he's turned plenty of double plays, more than I can count, but I can't count very high because I'm a journalism major. So,
So leading off here, James Martin. He'll step into the batter's box, and the man on the mound, the right-handed pitcher of A.J. Davis. So Martin will settle in here. We're set to go for the championship game, and the first pitch is on its way. Outside for strike one. Our officials behind the plate, the home plate umpire, Chris Aldinger of Meridian, Idaho. At first base, Eric Holden of Yakima, Washington. And that pitch will make it an even count at 1. Brian Larson at second base, right here from Missoula, Montana, and Max Cannon at third base from Missoula. Pitch on the line. It'll go down the first base line, picked up by White, and the touch to the bag for out number 1. That'll bring up the tool man, the center fielder, number 20, Nick Jovetic.
Jovetic, another player who's very consistent up at the plate. So far this tournament, Chris, if you believe this or not, batting .524 with a home run to his credit.
And the pitch is outside on the left-handed batter for ball 1. Very dangerous with Jovetic. He started out the last 2 seasons, he's been the leadoff batter. This pitch will catch the outside of the plate for strike 1. And when they went to the Rapid City tournament, they switched out and put Martin as the leadoff batter, and that's been pretty good for him. This one will be fouled straight up in the air down the third base line. Third baseman says he's got it, and it will go in the glove of the shortstop, and that'll be out number 1. As you alluded to earlier, Taylor, these two teams played last night in a marathon. The Twins and the Mavericks going 15 innings, and the winning score coming out to Idaho 6-5. First pitch to Frazier on the outside of the plate for strike 1.
Yeah, Chris, you're absolutely right. It'd be the top of the 15th inning. Just a heck of a performance. Long game.
That pitch is in the dirt for ball 1. Now, folks, you can follow along with the stats at home. Here's the pitch. That one will be hit towards the pitcher's mound. It'll roll out into center field, and Montana will have 1 on here with 2 outs. And that brings up the catcher, Spencer Schock.
Spencer Schock had a pretty quiet performance last night, 0 for 5 until he hit just an absolute shot out to left field to bring home the tying run, because Lewiston Clark actually went up 5-4 in the top of the 13th.
First pitch to Schock is hit on down the third base line. It'll stay fair. Hugs the line. Frazier will come around to second, and with 2 outs here, Montana will have runners at first and second, and that'll bring up the right fielder, number 1 in the program and in your hearts, the right fielder, Drew Leonard.
When Chris Leonard batting .300 so far throughout the tournament with 3 RBIs. He's no slug up at the dish either.
Opening half frame here in the championship game of the 2017 Northwest Regional Tournament, and he'll hit this one off the bat. The right fielder's backing up, and he's got it in the glove, and that will expire the inning. 2 up on base. They'll leave him there, and the Mavericks will retire. We'll be back in 60 seconds on Fox Sports Radio 1450 and 92.7. Welcome back to Fox Sports Radio 1450 and 92.7. Chris Stratton, Taylor Featherman at Ogren Park Allegiance Field in Missoula, Montana. We've got the championship game of the 2017 American Legion Northwest Regional AA Tournament between the host team, Missoula Mavericks, representing Montana, and the Lewis and Clark Twins, representing Idaho. Idaho would get in here with the semifinal game this morning with a win over Washington 8-5. And they would get back at Washington as the Yakima Pepsi Pack would beat the Twins in the opening game of the tournament, 13-11.
Boom, toasted. Who won that battle? Over the long, yeah?
Yeah.
Revenge is a dish best served cold, I think, is it saying.
So our leadoff batter for Idaho is the shortstop, number 11, Riley Way. And in case people are wondering, because these two teams have met each other over the season, including last night, they are 2-2 on the season against each other. The winner of this one will go to North Carolina and own the series on the season. That'll bring up the shortstop, Riley Way. Way went down in last night's game. He'd have one come out of the dirt, hop up, and hit him in the right eye, and he's got stitches over his right eye.
Tough
and
kid.
Here's the pitch by Ryan McHugh. First pitch by McHugh is low and outside for ball 1.
Well, and Chris, we've seen McHugh come into a game earlier on where he kind of got banged up a little bit. 6 hits and 6 runs.
Pitch is on its way, strikes the plate, and it'll make it an even count at 1. Bottom of the first. Goose eggs on the scoreboard to start out. Ryan McHugh with the pitch. That one will be low, and we'll go to a 2-1 count here now.
Well, and he only ended up doing about 2/3 of an inning in that relief effort, Chris, so they could kind of keep him fresh out here for today. But only 3 of those 6 runs were earned. Pitch
on the way. This one will catch the plate. We'll have an even count at 2. The Missoula Mavericks, they're wearing their white pants with the navy stripe down the side. They've got the knee socks with the red or gray, white, and navy. Pitch on the way. Check swing. Looks down the line. He did not go, and they say full count at 3-2. They've got the navy jerseys with the silver name and number and the white outline. Idaho, the Lewis and Clark Twins, they're wearing their white pants. They've got the forest green and black jerseys. This one will be popped up out of the dirt. Hops it to Martin, the throw to first, and that will retire the batter to lead off.
Well, and Chris, Riley Way was not in that last game that they just played against Yakima, and I think his bat was missed. Granted, they were able to get the W against Yakima, but batting .444 on the season with 4 RBIs and 8 hits. I mean, Riley Way's bat is a heavy one.
And that'll bring us the center fielder, number 23, Alex Light. So 1 down here in the opening. This one will be hit to Richardson at third. The throw to first is there in time, and that'll retire the second batter on the inning.
Well, and Alex Light was one of the players who stepped up big times in the in the absence of Riley Way. On the season, batting .500, Chris. Not on the season, but in the tournament, 11 for 22 That's pretty incredible right there.
And that'll bring us the pitcher, number 7, A.J. Davis. Pitch on the way. Outside, it'll catch the plate on the right-handed batter for strike 1.
Davis, a dangerous man with a bat in his hand. He had 3 straight triples in that last game, batting .542.
This one will be hit over second base. Jovetic will put it in the glove, and that will retire the side. 3 up, 3 down for Idaho. We go to the top of the second, scoreless here in Missoula. Back in 60 seconds on Fox Sports Radio, 1450 and 92.7. Welcome back to Fox Sports Radio, 1450 and 92.7. Chris Stratton, Taylor Featherman at Ogren Park Allegiance Field in Missoula, Montana. We've got the championship game of the 2017 American Legion Northwest Regional AA Tournament, and the leadoff batter on the inning is the pitcher, number 24, Ryan McHugh. This one will be batted down the third base line. The throw to first is there in time for out number 1.
Well, and Chris, we kind of have a little bit of an oddity here where both of the pitchers for each team are batting, and both of the pitchers are one of the better bats on the team. Ryan McHugh, very consistent, batting .360 on the season for the Mavericks.
That'll bring up number 16, the left fielder, Sam Busey. Pitch on the way, bounces over the pitcher's head. Shortstop's got it on the hop. The throw to first is there in time, and that'll retire the side. That'll retire the batter, I should say. And that will bring up the shortstop, number 10, Brendan the Cannon Buchanan. And he would come up in the end of the season from the A squad to play the shortstop position and has been a fireball since then. A.J. Davis with the pitch. That one will catch the outside of the plate for strike 1. He would actually win the batting MVP at the Montana-Alberta tournament last weekend. Pitch on the way. That one's in the dirt outside, and we've got a 2-0 count here for Buchanan.
Well, and Buchanan, like you said, he came in and put his feet right to the coals, stepping into these big moments, and he's handled them like a true professional.
That one's in the dirt outside once again, and that'll make it 3-0 on the count. He would come into that first game and just fireworks at the shortstop position, and then he steps up and hits a double for an RBI. That one's fouled off down the line for strike 1. And the scoreboard says 2-1, even count at 2.
And the umpire will confirm 2-2.
Pitch on the way. Swung on and missed, and they'll retire the side with a K. We go to the bottom of the second, tied at 0 on Fox Sports Radio, 1450 and 92.7.
This one's going fast. 3 up, 3 down. 3 up, 3 down. I think it's a karma thing. I don't think you need that much coverage. 4 can pretty much do it all, you know. And all I see. Yeah, Max Cannon, he crushed it too.
Welcome back to Fox Sports Radio, 1450 and 92.7. Chris Stratton, Taylor Featherman in the booth for the call on the championship game here at the Northwest Regional Tournament 2017. And the leadoff batter for Idaho is the very heavy bat of number 25, the first baseman, Luke White. White will settle in. He would come in and relieve on the mound to finish out Washington. Pitch on the way. Outside, ball one. Ryan McHugh on the pitcher's mound, right-handed pitcher.
Well, and heavy bat might be an understatement. I mean, Luke White can absolutely just mash a baseball.
Pitch on the way, swung on. This one's going to go deep into left field. And diving with the catch and the out is Sam Busey to deny White for out number one.
Boy, and we've seen Busey make a couple catches just like that, Chris. Last night in extra innings, he had a couple different outs just like that, and so did Drew Leonard out there in right field.
That'll take us to the third baseman, number 20, Jaden Phillips. Sorry to cut off your thought there.
No, you're all good.
So Phillips will settle in. McHugh with the pitch. This one will go off the toe of Schock for ball one. He'll snag it out of the dirt and hand it back to our head umpire, home plate umpire, Chris Aldinger. Aldinger settles in, and I think Taylor likes Aldinger's phone book tear more than any of the other umps. This one will catch the plate for a strike to even it out at one.
I do. That motion he makes when there's two strikes and down the pipe comes the third for a strikeout. The fist pump, yeah, his phone book tear is nice.
Here's the pitch. That one catches the plate for strike two. One out here, bottom of the second. Goose eggs on the scoreboard. Montana and Idaho for the championship. That one goes in the dirt. We'll have ball two, so an even count at two here. These two teams know each other, 2-2 on the season, including last night's epic 15-inning game. Pitch on the way by McHugh. And that one will be a ball. We'll see how much gas Idaho has in the tank. They will have played 22, or more than that, 20.
Journalism.
24. This one's going to be popped high and deep into left field, and it will bounce. It'll go over the wall. So Jaden Phillips pops one over the wall to give Idaho a 1-0 lead here in the bottom of the second.
Jaden Phillips, say goodbye. Solo, Yabo, left field fence. That was a good-looking shot right there, Chris. And that's the far fence. That's 309. And that thing cleared that thing all day and twice today on Sunday.
That one went over the ESPN sign.
Deep. That might be in the river.
309 down the third base line, 287 down first, and 398 to center field. Pitch on the way will be a strike, and the first pitch is to the right fielder, number 26, Chase Atkinson.
Chris, that one might have been in the river. Heck, that might have been at Taco John's across the river. That was a shot right there.
Pitch on the way. That one's outside, evens the count out at one. One out here, bottom of the second. Idaho takes a 1-0 lead here with one out. Ryan McHugh on the pitcher's mound with the pitch on the way. This one's going to be fouled down the first base line for strike two.
Chris, I'm hearing word from our moral support in the booth that right over that ESPN is around 341. So, yeah, that's a pretty good shot.
Plus a 12-foot wall to go over as well.
That he cleared handsomely as we're going to get our first phone book tear of the night from Aldinger there.
And that will retire the batter to make it 2 outs, and we'll have the second baseman, number 15, Ryder Schultz, come to the plate. He'll settle in, right-handed batter. McHugh with the windup, and the pitch is on its way. That'll catch the outside of the plate for strike one. McHugh, one of the veteran pitchers, veteran players in general for the Mavericks. Go ahead, Taylor. That one will be chopped out, picked up by Martin at second, the throw to first, and that will retire the side. Idaho will take the first lead of the game, making it 1-0. We'll be back in 60 seconds on Fox Sports Radio, 1450 and 92.7.
That's what happened to me. I had all blue, and they're like, we're looking for a white ticket. And it's like, why even? Just so demoralizing. will split him.
Welcome back to Fox Sports Radio, 1450 and 92.7. Chris Stratton, Taylor Featherman at Ogren Park, Allegiance Field. The championship game of the 2017 American Legion Northwest Regional AA Tournament. The host team, Missoula Mavericks, taking on the Lewiston Clark Twins. Montana, Idaho representing, and leading off on the inning for Montana is number 13, the third baseman, Trad Richardson. And the first pitch by A.J. Davis is a strike. He'll wind up with the pitch on the way. This one, check swing. They'll say it's a strike, so an 0-2 count for Richardson.
Well, Chris, and Lewis and Clark taking the 1-0 lead after that absolute moonshot by Jaden Phillips.
That pitch is a ball, so we'll go to a 1-2 count here for the third baseman. Pitch on the way, swung on. This one will bounce over the pitcher's mound. The throw to first is there in time, and that will retire the leadoff batter. That'll swing us to the top of the batting order for Montana with the second baseman, James Martin, come to the plate. And before we went to the break, I was mentioning these Idaho Twins, they have played 24 innings of baseball in less than 12 hours, not including what's played here tonight. So pitch on the way, swung on. This one will go over the shortstop's head, and Martin will get on.
James Martin doing what he does best. He's just going to keep grinding out singles. James Martin, honestly, probably one of the more consistent on base. We don't have the on base percentages. Actually, I do. 50% on base.
And that'll bring in the center fielder, Nick Jovetic. Martin steps away from first. One out. This one will be hit high into right field. The shortstop will get past the fringe. He'll have it in the glove, and that will retire Jovetic. Two down here in the top of the third.
Well, and here comes
Idaho leads Montana 1-0, and the first baseman, Dane Frazier, coming to the plate.
Frazier so far tonight already with that shot out for a single.
Here's the pitch by Davis. That one's outside on the right-handed batter for ball one. And they would play hard against Washington. Idaho would in the previous game. Deep breath, pitch. That one outside makes it 2-0 on the count. Two outs. Idaho leads 1-0 over Montana, top of the third. Deep breath and a pitch. That one's outside, and we go to 3-0 on Frazier. Spencer Schock in the on-deck circle. Deep breath by Davis. Pitch on the way. That one will catch the plate. We'll have strike one here for Frazier.
82 miles an hour right in the corner, right, just a little bit inside from where his last two balls hit. That's nice.
And they'll go ahead and walk Frazier to put runners at first and second with two outs here in the top of the third, and that'll bring up the catcher, the wall, Spencer Schock.
Well, and Spencer Schock might be one of the last players that Lewis and Clark wants to give runners on first and second to. Spencer Schock been known to mash a baseball from time to time. Let's see what he can do here, Chris.
Pitch on the way. That one outside on the right-handed batter for ball one.
Schock so far this tournament batting .348. Like I was saying, he struggled last night 0 for 5 except that one big shot.
He'll hit this one past the third baseman. They're going to go ahead and bring Martin around. He'll come around. The throw home will be there, but is it in time? No! And Martin ties it up at one here in the top of the third with runners at first and second and two outs.
Well, and right there, Lewis and Clark just kind of conceded that run. They got the ball down to the catcher, Jackson Fuller, in time, but Fuller popped up to try to see if he could get Dane Frazier out at second rather than trying to make a play on Martin at home. And the result, tie ball game.
That brings the right fielder, Drew Leonard. Runners at first and second, two outs. Pitch on the way. Leonard will watch it go by as it's a ball.
Leonard 0 for 1 here to start off the day with that nice line drive out to second base there earlier in the ball game.
Davis settles, pitch, swung on, over the first baseman's head. It'll go to right field. They'll throw it in, but the bases will be loaded with 2 outs, and that brings up the laser, Ryan McHugh.
Well, and McHugh, one of the players, I mean, you don't really want to have runners on base for any of the Mavericks. The Mavericks are a really good team offensively, which we've seen. I mean, their first game, they won 13-2. The next game, 21-14, and then 10-4. I mean, this Mavericks team can put up runs.
And the pitching coach for Idaho heads out to converse with Davis to check him in, and he'll sprint back to the dugout. So with loaded bases and 2 outs, tie game at 3 in the top of the 3rd, Ryan McHugh settles into the box. First pitch is on its way. It'll be outside for a ball.
Well, and good check swing there by McHugh. He thought about going for that one, but right at the end, he saw the movement on that pitch by Davis and just laid off.
Sam Busey in the on-deck circle. Pitch on the way. Swung on. This one will bounce out to the second baseman. He'll glove it. The throw to first is there, and that will retire the side. Montana ties it at 1. We go to the bottom of the 3rd in 60 seconds on Fox Sports Radio, 1450 and 92.7. Welcome back to Fox Sports Radio, 1450 and 92.7. Chris Stratton, Taylor Featherman, and RJ Hens at Ogren Park Allegiance Field as we are set to go here for the bottom of the 3rd. Tied at 1 between Montana and Idaho. This one is for the championship and a trip to Shelby, North Carolina, and an appearance in the American Legion World Series. Our leadoff batter on the inning for Idaho, that will be number 8, the catcher, Jackson Fuller.
Fuller 429 this season, this postseason.
And the first pitch by McHugh is low for ball 1. Ryan McHugh standing tall on the mound. He'll take a deep breath. And the pitch. That one's inside. Makes it 2-0 on the count. And watching the Missoula players coming in and hanging out, Ryan looked really loose. He looked calm. He was jumping around, kind of just being himself. That pitch will catch the plate, and we'll have strike 1, a 2-1 count.
He did, Chris. You're absolutely right, and that's so important right now. I mean, overhyping yourself and then ultimately shutting down would be the worst thing.
This one's going to be popped up over second base. Martin says he's got it, shading the sun with his glove, and it'll land in the glove for out number 1. That will bring us the left fielder, number 6, Colt Olson.
You know, and Ryan McHugh coming into this ballgame with that 40.5 ERA is so misleading. Because so far through 3 innings, or 2 1/3, I suppose.
This one will be hit into left field. Busey is going to try to get there. It'll hop in front of Busey and then roll down the third base line. The runner will take second. They'll hold him. Nope, he'll come around the corner and now he'll slide and run back to second. And that will swing us to the top of the batting order for Idaho with the shortstop, Riley Way.
I was going to say he only had 1 hit, and that'll give him his second right there. But still, 2 hits through 2 2/3 innings of work. Nothing wrong with that.
Alex Light goes to the on-deck circle. Our umpire, Chris Aldinger, will clean the plate off. Ryan McHugh settles on the mound. Runner at second, steps away. Walks his way out to a 2-step lead. McHugh will watch him. And the pitch. That one's going to be low for a ball. McHugh, you know, we've talked about the game that the pitcher and the runners on base play, and McHugh seems like one of the few pitchers that really doesn't get affected by what the runner's doing. Pitch on the way. That one's low. He seems to be like, if he's going to run, he's going to run. He concentrates on the pitch at hand.
For sure, but he still holds the runners. He stares them down right at the beginning, which is good, but he's not going to do a lot of pitch outs so far, which is, I mean, no one's really tempted him too much, but he still keeps them in control.
2-0 count. Pitch comes across the plate for strike one.
Yeah, you're right, Chris. He doesn't get bothered too much by the runners on base, which is important. He focuses on his task about getting batters out. A lot of that must fall on Schock trying to contain runners.
Pitch on the way. That one's going to be low, and we'll go to a 3-1 count here for the shortstop. Yeah, Schock does a phenomenal job behind the plate, of force, and he'll freeze runners at the base just coming out of his stance. McHugh settles, checks the runner at second in the pitch. Check swing, and they're going to walk away, and that will bring up the center fielder, Alex Light.
Well, we'll see Schock trot out, grab McHugh's ear here for a second. Just a quick one, just kind of a you're all good, little slap of the glove. We're back after it. Alex Light, Chris, one of the batting .500 in this tournament so far, 11 for 22, and then 0 for 1 here tonight. So I suppose that's what, 11 for 23? Boom, math.
There you go. Runner steps from second. Light settles in. Pitch on the way by McHugh. That one will catch the outside of the plate for strike one.
That was a good-looking pitch by McHugh. He kind of laid off the speed a little bit and put a lot of movement on that. Looked like a slider.
Chris Stratton, Taylor Featherman here for Fox Sports Radio on the call. Bottom of the third, tie game at 1. Pitch on the way. That one will be outside. Makes it an even count at 1. 1 out here. Idaho and Montana, the 2017 American Legion Northwest Regional AA Tournament. Runner step away from first and second. McHugh checks the runner at second, and now the pitch. That one will be in the dirt. Runners will stay, and we'll have a 2-1 count here. Light settles in. McHugh with a deep breath. Runner step from first and second. McHugh settles. Checks the runner, and now the pitch. This one will be swung right at McHugh. It'll bounce on the plate. They'll bring the runner around from second to third. The throw home by Jovetic is wide, and Idaho will score, making it 2-1 Idaho over Montana in the bottom of the third. Well, runners at first and second with 2 outs, and that brings us A.J. Davis, the pitcher.
That pitch, or not that pitch, that toss in from Jovetic from the outfield. We've seen him do that same thing and stop the runner at third, but that one, like you said, Chris, just wide. But what a job by Schock to get out and get that one before runners could advance from first and second to second and third.
McHugh checks the runner at second. Pitch on the way. This one will be batted down. Richardson will pick it up, tag the bag to retire the side. The throw to first, I should say, for the double play is not made. They'll get the leadoff runner for out number 2. Got ahead of myself here. And that will bring up the first baseman, Luke White.
Luke White, one of the more dangerous bats in this entire tournament. He could, with any pitch, any swing of that bat, clear that wall out there.
Jaden Phillips goes to the on-deck circle. Runners at first and second, step away. McHugh's pitch is high and into right field. Leonard checks it, guards the sun with his glove, gets it in there, and that will retire the side. Idaho takes a 2-1 lead here in the bottom of the third. We'll have the fourth in 60 seconds on Fox Sports Radio, 1450 and 92.7. Welcome back to Ogren Park Allegiance Field, Missoula, Montana. Chris Stratton, Taylor Featherman on Fox Sports Radio, 1450 and 92.7. Taylor, we've got the top of the fourth here with a 2-1 game, Idaho over Montana. And the leadoff batter on the inning for Montana is the left fielder, Sam Busey. The winner of this game will be the champion of the Northwest region and head to Shelby, North Carolina for the series, the 10th through the 15th. Pitch outside to Busey is a ball. The American Legion World Series, I should say.
Well, Chris, and I was doing some homework at the break. The Missoula Mavericks have never won a Northwest regional title.
This one will be hit into the glove of the second baseman for out number 1. That will bring us to the shortstop, Brendan Buchanan.
But the Mavericks, Chris, have never won a Northwest regional title. But Lewiston has won 4. Their last one coming in 2001. Montana would be just the second Montana team ever to clinch that.
Buchanan settles in. Here's the pitch. Outside for ball 1.
Hasn't been since 1962, the Billings Yellowstone team, which actually was a three-peat, 60, 61, 62.
Buchanan will swing on this one. Foul. Makes it an even count at 1.
Well, at least that's what the internet says, Chris. So don't go quoting me on that if that's not right. That's just the internet.
Trad Richardson. This one will be hit down the first base line. It'll land fair and get up against the wall. Buchanan's around first. They'll hold him at second. And with 1 out here, the Mavericks will have a runner at second with Trad Richardson, the third baseman, coming to the plate.
Runner at second to Trad Richardson. Richardson has had 4 at-bats now in this tournament and hasn't connected with a hit yet, but plenty of ground outs, and he's advanced the runners twice so far this tournament. So let's see if he can do that here for Buchanan.
First pitch on the way. That one will skin the plate for strike 1. James Martin in the on-deck circle for Montana. Runner at second in Buchanan, and he's got some wheels. He can steal bases. This one will be hit out into center field. It'll land right. No, it will not get in the glove of the center fielder. And with 1 out here, the Mavericks will have runners at first and second. And James, Mr. Consistency, Martin will come to the plate.
Well, and Buchanan was about halfway between third and second there once that ball dropped. But he thought that one was caught for an out, so he returned to second. By the time he realized it, he already would have been tossed out at third. So smart play by Buchanan.
First and second are the runners. 1 out here. Top of the fourth, 2-1. Martin will swing on this one. It'll bounce. Not be able to get it. Will is the shortstop. And with 1 out here, the Mavericks will have loaded bases. And Taylor, who's coming to the plate?
That is a tough break there for Riley Way and this Lewis and Clark team. And Chris, Nick Jovetic, as you call him, the tool or something.
The tool man, not the tool.
Oh. Well,
not
either way, he's at bat.
Pitch on the way, outside, ball 1. We call him the tool man because he's got a toolbox full of tools out there on the field. He's about as handy as a pocket on a T-shirt.
I'm just giving you a hard time.
Here's the pitch. This one, foul over the bathrooms down the third base line, and Jovetic will have an even count at 1.
Yeah, Jovetic, one of the more consistent bats in this whole tournament, 524.
That one's outside on the left-handed batter, makes it 2-1. Dane Frazier in the on-deck for Montana. Runners step away from their bases. It's loaded. Pitch on the way. That one he'll let go by, but it'll skin the plate, and we'll have an even count at 2.
Jovetic, one of 2 players on this Mavs team with a home run in this tournament. Himself and Spencer Schock are the list.
That one will be inside, and we'll go to a full count at 3-2 now.
Well, and a walk here, Chris, advances runners and actually going to bring Brendan Buchanan home for a run.
Pitch on the way. Swung on. This one's going to go high down the first baseline. Foul, and Yo will stay alive.
Ooh, good catch by the 10th.
They've got the beer garden set down the first baseline there. Pitch on the way. Jovetic will hit this one, and it will go foul over the third base restrooms.
Jovetic making A.J. Davis work here. Now at 49 pitches. He's just going to keep fouling him off until A.J. puts something in the zone for him.
Pitch on the way. This one will bounce down the first base line. White will throw it home. They'll get the out at home. The throw to first will not make it, and there'll be 2 down here with loaded bases. And here comes Dane Frazier, the first baseman.
Frazier, so far here tonight, I wait for I score. I shouldn't even let in with that. My apologies. I'll get
That's
it.
okay.
I'll get it in a
That's
second.
okay.
I'll get it in a second.
Technology.
I know he's got a single. I know he's got a single.
Technology. He'll settle in to the box. Runners step away from their bases. The pitch is on its way. That one will be outside for ball one. With 2 outs here, Idaho leads Montana 2-1, top of the 4th. Loaded bases. Spencer Schock in the on-deck circle. Pitch on the way. This one will be cut on. It's going to be high and deep into right field. It doesn't have enough leg, and the right fielder will get it in the glove. Montana will load the bases up, but Idaho will stick them there, and it's still 2-1 Idaho. We'll have the bottom of the 4th in 60 seconds on Fox Sports Radio, 1450 and 92.7. Welcome back to Fox Sports Radio, 1450 and 92.7. Chris Stratton, Taylor Featherman here at Oakland Park Allegiance Field as we have the championship game of the 2017 Northwest AA Regional Tournament, Montana versus Idaho, and Idaho leads 2-1 in the bottom of the 4th. Our leadoff batter for Idaho is the third baseman, Jaden Phillips. On the mound for Montana is Ryan McHugh. Pitch on the way. Outside for strike one.
Well, and Phillips already, Chris, has just mashed a ball over that left field fence. So the Mavs and Ryan McHugh know that they got to be careful with him.
Pitch on the way. This one will be hit right at McHugh. He'll skin out of the way. It'll roll into center field. Jovetic down on a knee. And Idaho will lead off with a runner at first. That'll take us to the right fielder, Chase Atkinson.
Atkinson, we've seen very versatile athlete, not only play right field, but we've seen him at catcher. We've seen him on the bump. In that big game last night, he actually was the relief pitcher, ended up doing 8 innings of work, only allowing 1 run as well.
Pitch on the way. That one will skin the plate for strike one. So 3 innings in here for McHugh. 2 runs earned. 2 runs total off of 4 hits. Walked and struck out a batter. 41 pitches in. 25 of those have been strikes, and 1 of those runs was a home run.
Moonshot Yabo.
Runner steps from first. McHugh checks him over his left shoulder, and now the pitch. Swung on. This one's going to go into the glove of Jovetic. It'll come off the hop, and they'll have runners at first and second.
Jovetic looked like he almost had a beat on that one, but it just dropped a little bit in front of him.
And that will take us to the second baseman, Ryder Schultz. So with no outs here, Idaho's got runners at first and second. Bottom of the 4th, 2-1 Idaho over Montana. Ryan McHugh with the pitch. Bunt is going to be high, and into the glove of Schock for out number 1.
That right there is a big break by the Missoula Mavericks. Ryder just trying to lay that one down and advance his runners from first and second to second and third, maybe even get on himself, but just bunts that one up a little bit too high. And
so with 1 out here, that'll take us to the catcher, Jackson Fuller. Bottom of the 4th, pitch on the way. That one's going to catch the outside of the plate on the right-handed batter for strike 1. Runners at first and second for Idaho. Colt Olson in the on-deck circle.
And we're going to get time called here. Olson right at the wire, waving him off. Just needs a minute to think here.
Fuller settles into the box. Runners step away from their bases, and the pitch by McHugh. That one catches the outside of the plate for strike 2.
Well, the Mavs are currently navigating a sticky situation here with runners at first and second and only one out. Any kind of a shot out deep could lead to a tag up and bags taken or maybe even heading home.
The pitch by McHugh. That one will go in the dirt. We'll have ball one here for the batter.
Great work there by Schock, though. That ball kind of got down in the dirt, and he's able to block it from going back behind him and hold the runners.
McHugh gets the pitch from Schock, settles, checks the runner at second who's got a two-step lead. Pitch on the way. This one will be swung on and missed, and McHugh will strike out the batter as Taylor does the phone book rip here in the booth.
Well, I was thinking Aldinger was going to do it, but that time he just did
That'll bring the left fielder, Colt Olson. You had to do it for him, Taylor.
Oh.
Sometimes you got to step in there. Riley Way in the on deck. Runners at first and second, 2 down. Bottom of the fourth, Idaho leads 4-1, and the first pitch is a ball.
Colt Olson, 263 in this tournament. He's started and played all 5 games, Chris.
McHugh settles on the mound. Checks the runner at second, and now the pitch. That one will be low, and we'll go to a 2-0 count here with 2 outs.
You know, the runners got on first and second with no outs, Chris, and the Mavs have just been able to kind of chip away, and you're not as worried about it with 2 outs because, you know, if something pops out, that's the end of the inning and not allowing anyone to tag.
The pitch by McHugh. Swung on and missed for strike 1.
McHugh kind of getting in his zone right now. He's looking pretty confident out there on the bump.
Runners step away from their bases at first and second. Schock relays the pitch to McHugh. McHugh sets. Checks the runner at second, 2-step lead. Pitch on the way. This one will be swung on and missed. Actually, they say, yes, it was swung on. It evens the plate out at 2. The count out at 2. And as I was going to say, the plate umpire, Aldinger, will clean the plate off. So an even count at 2 here for Olson. Runners at first and second, 2 outs. Bottom of the fourth, 2-1 Idaho on the scoreboard. Pitch on the way. That one will ding the batter, and that will load the bases up.
Oof. That'll load the bases up for Riley Way, which is not necessarily a player you want to do that for. Batting .444, granted Colt Olson, runners at first and second, already had a double today, so you didn't really want to give him base runners either. But Riley Way, .444, 4 RBIs in this tournament. Let's see if he can bludgeon the Mavs here a little bit more.
McHugh with the pitch. That one will be off the toe. Runners will hold, and it'll be ball 1. Chris Stratton, Taylor Featherman for Fox Sports Radio as we have coverage of the championship game between Montana and Idaho. Bottom of the fourth, Idaho leads 2-1 with 2 outs and loaded bases. The pitch away, swung on down the third base line. Richardson will get the tag on the bag, and that will expire the inning. McHugh gets out of the jam, and we go to the bottom of the top of the fifth, 2-1. We'll be back in 60 seconds on Fox Sports Radio, 1450 and 92.7. Welcome back to Fox Sports Radio, 1450 and 92.7. Chris Stratton, Taylor Featherman, as we're set to go at the top of the fifth, 2-1 Idaho, and the leadoff batter is Spencer Schock. First pitch is going to be hit high and hard down the third base line. It will go foul, but that one cleared the fence down the third base line. That one's well beyond 309.
Just a tad left, too. If he straightens that one out a little bit, we're talking about a tie ball game here, Chris. Spencer Schock so far tonight, 2 for 2 with a pair of singles. And I don't mean dollar bills, I'm talking base hits.
Pitch on the way. Outside for ball one. Drew Leonard in the on-deck circle for Montana. Leadoff batter on the 5th here for Montana. Here's the pitch to Schock. He'll swing and miss for strike 2.
Well, Chris, A.J. Davis doing a bang-up job so far on the mound. 4 innings of work, 7 hits allowed, 1 run. It was earned, a walk, a strikeout in 52 pitches.
Pitch on the way. This one's reached for. It'll get past the second baseman. Schock will reach as the ball rolls into center field, and that'll bring up the right fielder, Drew Leonard.
Well, and that right there is Schock's 3rd straight single. He's in a groove right now, which last night was not the case. He went 0 for 5 until he belted that one out to tie the ball game in the bottom of the 10th, Chris. He is a PTPer, by the way.
I was going to say, what's that acronym that you use all the time?
Prime time performer.
So with no outs here, a runner at first, Leonard ready for the first pitch. That one will go in the dirt for ball 1. 2-1 Idaho over Montana, top of the 5th. Winner will be the Northwest Regional Champion and punch their ticket to Shelby, North Carolina for the American Legion World Series.
Oh.
And Micah Pye just walked by the window. This one's going to go past the first baseman. Schock's going to get to second. Leonard will get on first. Pye, one of the more electrifying players for Hawaii.
That's the wheelman right there.
The wheelman. We had a lot of fun with his dad as he would send us emails throughout the games.
Huh. Yeah, his dad is a doc, and he was in the operating room listening to the game, which I'm pretty sure is allowed.
Quick conference with the catcher, Fuller, and Davis, and now Ryan McHugh settles into the box. No outs, runners at first and second. Top of the 5th, 2-1 Idaho. Pitch on the way, bunt laid down. Nice one. It'll hop in front of the plate. The throw down the first base line. The tag at first for out number 1, but the sac bunt did its job as movement happens on the bases, and we've got runners at second and third, and that brings up the left fielder, Sam Busey.
Well, and you're absolutely right, Chris. McHugh there lays down the bunt. Obviously, it'd be great if he gets on, then your base is loaded, no outs, but
pitch on the way, outside to the Buse.
The Mavericks will certainly take 1 out, runners on second and third. In scoring position now to Sam Busey, batting .200 in the tournament with a plenty of walks.
Pitch on the way. That one catches the plate to even out at 1. And Leonard out there at second. He's got some wheels. Davis settles. Pitch on the way. Swung on. Fouled on the first base line into the barbecue area on the first base line decking. And they've actually got a little brew fest going on down there today for the championship. So that's pretty cool. A.J. Davis settles on the mound. Steps off now. Runners at second and third go back to their bases. Brendan Buchanan in the on deck. Pitch on the way. Swung on and fouled off for staying alive at 1-2.
Busey 0 for 2 here tonight, but still valuable at-bats as we've seen him also putting in some serious work out there in left field with that gorgeous diving out early on.
This one will be fouled off and he'll stay alive, 1-2. He'll battle away here. The Missoula, Montana batters making A.J. Davis work on the mound.
At 64 pitches now here through 5, top of the 5th at least, innings.
Pitch on the way. That'll be high. It's going to get loose, and Schock will come down the line to tie it at 2 with a runner at third and 1 out. And that one, Fuller had a hard time getting to. The umpire was right in the way, and they'd get tangled up. Fuller would go down, and that would give Montana the opportunity to score. Tie game at 2, top of the 5th. Runner at third, 1 out. Sam Busey settles into the box. The pitch by Davis. Fouled down the first base line, or the pitch to Davis is fouled down the first base line.
Well, and you know, Schock knows how that works better than anyone because he is the catcher. He knows that if a wild pitch gets that far away from a catcher, it's going to take him a minute to go get it, and he just took advantage of that.
That pitch outside And we'll go to a full count at 3-2 for Busey. Yeah, Shock was ready to go before Hathaway gave him the signal.
Careful, Shock.
Pitch on the way. Batted out, picked up by the shortstop. The throw to first will retire Busey. That'll put 2 down with the cannon, Brendan Buchanan, the shortstop, coming to the plate.
Well, then Buchanan got things going for that first run the Mavs scored there in the top of the third with that nice shot out to the El Cazador sign in right field, right in the corner there, 287. That double that got him inevitably scored.
He'll watch that one go by for strike 1. Pitch on the way. That one goes by for ball 1. Even count at 1. 2 outs. Top of the 5th, tie game at 2. Montana and Idaho. Pitch on the way. Outside as Leonard dances at third. Trad Richardson in the on deck. Pitch on the way. This one will be chopped out into right field. Right fielder's looking for it in the sun, searching, and he does not hit it in the glove. And Leonard comes home, and Montana takes a 3-2 lead here in the top of the 5th.
That right there, Chris, are the kind of errors in a championship game that come back to haunt people. Out there in right field, that is Chase Atkinson, the player we've seen play catcher masterfully. We've seen him pitch elegantly, but in right field, struggle.
So with 2 outs here, a runner at second. That'll bring Brad Richardson to the plate. And James Martin in the on deck. Pitch on the way. Swung on, fouled off in the netting for strike 1.
Trad Richardson looking for his second hit of the ball game here, as he would get a single down in that top of the 3rd.
A.J. Davis on the mound for Idaho. Pitch on the way. This one will be bounced out to shortstop. He'll glove it. The throw to first is there in time to retire the side. So Montana, they'll come back and take the lead for the first time in the top of the 5th, making it 3-2. We'll be back in 60 seconds on Fox Sports Radio, 1450 and 92.7. Welcome back to Fox Sports Radio, 1450 and 92.7. Chris Stratton, Taylor Featherman in the booth here for the call of the championship game of the 2017 American Legion Northwest Regional Tournament. Leading off for Idaho on the inning is Alex Light. First pitch to Light is going to be hit out to Martin. He'll throw to first, and that'll retire the batter. That will bring us to the pitcher, A.J. Davis. The 2, 3, 4 batters scheduled on the inning. Idaho. Montana leads 3-2, bottom of the 5th. Ryan McHugh with the pitch. And that's a ball. McHugh with the pitch. That one will catch the plate, evens the count out at 1. 1 out here, bottom of the 5th. Montana leads Idaho 3-2 for the first time on the game. Pitch on the way by McHugh. That one catches the plate for strike 2.
McHugh looks like he's really in a rhythm right now at only 57 pitches here at the beginning of the 5th inning. McHugh might be in this game for the long haul.
That one's outside. McHugh, a veteran pitcher for the Mavericks, could have went and played D1
baseball as a pitcher, but decided to work on his academics. He's going to Montana State University as that one goes outside. And we'll have full count at 3-2 with one out. He's going to go and study, I believe, business.
Business, good. That's a good degree.
Pitch on the way. He'll hit this one over the head of Martin. Drew Leonard will come up and get it in the glove, and that will be out number 2. And now coming to the plate is the scary batter, the first baseman, Luke White.
Very scary. Luke White, a player who literally any single pitch over the mound, Chris. You can't leave things up in the zone for this player because he will absolutely take advantage of it. He can get a hold of a baseball.
2 outs, bottom of the 5th. 3-2 Montana. First pitch to White is outside for ball. White settles in. McHugh with the pitch. That one is outside, and we'll make it 2-0 on the count. In the on deck is Jaden Phillips. He's popped one over the wall. Pitch on the way. This one will be fouled off, and that'll be strike 1.
Luke White only batting .227 actual batting average wise, but like I said, Chris, when he does get a hold of one, they're tough to get a hold on.
Pitch on the way, swung on. This one's to go over the shortstop's head, rolls out into center field. Jovitich on the knee to get it off the grass, and White will reach. 2 outs, bottom of the 5th. Montana leads Idaho 5-2, and stepping to the plate now is the third baseman, Jaden Phillips, with Chase Atkinson going to the on deck.
Jaden Phillips, that name sounds familiar. He's that guy who crushed that ball right over left center.
Pitch on the way, outside for a ball.
Well, Jaden's having a good game besides the home run. He's 2 for 2 with that home run and also a single to his credit. See if he can keep it rolling here against McHugh.
White steps from first. Pitch on the way, swung on. This was to be hit off the grips. Buchanan comes up from shortstop. It's in the glove, and it retires the side. So Idaho will get one on. They'll leave them there, and Montana maintains the 3-2 lead. We'll be back in 60 seconds on Fox Sports Radio, 1450 and 92.7.
Did our viewership spike at all? Yeah. Awesome. Hey, thank you.
We're back to Fox Sports Radio, 1450 and 92.7. Chris Stratton, Taylor Featherman calling the Northwest Regional 2017 American Legion Championship game between Idaho and Montana, and the leadoff batter is James Martin. First pitch to Martin will be in the dirt for ball 1.
Martin so far here tonight, 1 for 3 with single, and then he hit to a fielder's choice and also rounded out. But on this tournament, batting .478.
Here's the pitch. Inside for ball 2. These two teams know each other. Last night's game would tie the season series up at 2. Nick Jovitich in the on deck. Pitch on the way. Swung on. This one will be grounded out to the shortstop. He'll bobble it. The throw to first is there in time, and that will be out number 1 on the inning. That will bring us to Nick Jovitich, the center fielder, and Dane Frazier goes to the on deck.
Jovitich's been quiet here tonight, not able to get a lot going. He did, however, reach on that last one, but 0 for 3.
Pitch on the way. Outside on the left-hand batter for ball 1. Top of the 6th. Montana leads 3-2 over Idaho. 1 out. Pitch on the way. Swung on. This was going to go high down the first baseline. White's looking for it. He's searching, and he's got it in the glove for out number 2. That'll bring us the first baseman, Dane Frazier. And Spencer Schock will go to the on deck.
Dane Frazier having himself a good night so far tonight. A single and a walk so far, also reaching last at bat.
This one, he'll pop out in right field. And the right fielder's there. And the glove is on it. And Montana goes 1, 2, 3. We'll go to the bottom of the sixth with a 3-2 game with Montana in charge. Back in 60 seconds on Fox Sports Radio, 1450 and 92.7. Welcome back to Fox Sports Radio, 1450 and 92.7. Chris Stratton, Taylor Featherman on the call of the game here. The 2017 American Legion Northwest Regional Tournament Championship game between Montana and Idaho, the Missoula Mavericks and Lewiston Clark Twins. And we're in the bottom of the sixth with Montana leading 3-2. The leadoff batter on the inning for Idaho will be number 26. Their right fielder, Chase Atkinson. Ryan McHugh on the mound, pitch on the way. That one will catch the plate for strike one. We've got a Facebook message here from Andrea Newmeyer. Watching from Lewiston, Idaho is my husband, Coach Newmeyer, Coach Maurer, and the Twins play in the championship game. You've worked so hard this season. Now let's bring it home, boys. That pitch will be a strike as well. Thanks for the message, Miss Newmeyer.
Ryan McHugh so far, Chris, working into quite rhythm as the second pitch here coming, and that one's getting high. Bounced out to the shortstop Buchanan. He's got it. Throw to first. High for Frazier, and he can't make the play. And that will be a lead-off single for Adkins.
Great job by Frazier to get that one in the glove.
Absolutely. A lot of times that will sail right over his head. We've seen that happen in that last game, but it was from Yakima. It got into the bullpen over there, and the guy got triple out of it, 3 bags. But what I was saying before that play started, McHugh, 5 innings of work, 6 hits allowed, 2 runs, both earned, a walk, 2 strikes, 71 pitches now, 4 in the zone for him.
So with no outs here and a runner at first, that brings us the second baseman, Ryder Schultz. McHugh checks the runner at first. Now the pitch. That one will catch the plate for strike one. Friend Mike George in Virginia sent us a message. Glad to be listening to your broadcast again today, Chris and Taylor. The Twins are really battling to stay alive. So proud of all the boys. Bring home the ship, Twins.
McHugh's going to check first base. Runner will slide back in safe. That's probably the first time I think I've seen McHugh actually pitch out to one of the bases to check the runner. Hasn't bothered him too much yet, but Atkins is maybe getting to him as this pitch is going to get in the zone, but that's going to be fouled off down the first base line into the stands.
That one almost takes somebody out in front of the bathrooms on the deck down there, the first base line. So that'll make it a 0-2 count here for Schultz. Runner steps from first. McHugh checks the runner, now settles on the mound. Schock is settled behind the plate, pitch on the way. This one will be hit, bounced out, picked up by Buchanan. The toss second for the out. They'll get the leadoff batter. We'll have one down here in the bottom of the sixth with a runner on, and that will bring us to the catcher, Jackson Fuller.
Well, Chris, that right there was picture-perfect base running by Chase Atkinson. Little shot out by Schultz, and that, I'd say 4 out of every 6 is going to be a double play ball from the Mavericks, but he does a great job of sliding it.
This one's hit out towards center field. It'll hop the fringe. Jovetic on a knee to pick it up out of the grass. And with one out here, Idaho will have runners at first and second, and that'll bring up the left fielder, Colt Olson.
But, sorry, what I was saying there was Atkinson Great job of sliding at Martin on second base to distract him and throw off that throw to first and inevitably break up the double play. There's a fine line between breaking up a double play and Chase Utleying some guy.
Pitch is outside on the left-handed batter for ball one.
Yes, it's a little known fact, but no one likes Chase Utley.
Not anybody
sure
that I've
that's a
ever
fact.
talked to.
Pretty sure that's
First
a
and
fact.
second are where the runners are out with one out. McHugh checks the runner at second with a two-step lead. Pitch on the way. This one will be bounced out. Picked up by Buchanan in the grass. He'll throw it to first, but it'll be a hair behind. And the runners will be loaded at the bases with one out here for Idaho.
Just like that broken up double play, it's starting to sting just a little bit more, Chris.
And that'll swing us to the top of the batting order for the shortstop, Riley Way.
Riley Way 0 for 2 tonight with a ground out and a fielder's choice, but he did walk at one point.
Pitch on the way, swung on. This one's going to go into left field. Busey's there. He's got the glove out. The glove, the throw down the first base line. The runner will come home off to the tag, and Idaho will tie it up at 3 here in the bottom of the 6th.
Just like that, Chris, we got a tie ball game. These two teams fought a similar battle just the other night, except the Mavs out to an early lead. Lewis and Clark fighting back late, and then it ended up going 15 innings just last night, Chris. So the two teams know each other very well, as you've alluded to.
That'll bring up the center fielder, Alex Light, with runners at first and second and 2 outs. Tie ball game at 3, bottom of 6th. Pitch on the way. This one was going to be fouled off right into the on-deck circle and into the hands of the waiting A.J. Davis.
Well, it'll be interesting to see here if Ryan McHugh can navigate another key situation for the Mavericks. 2 outs, runners on first and second here in the bottom of the 6th. Not as sticky as that first one with bases loaded 1 out, but we'll see.
McHugh checks the runner at second. Now the pitch. This one will be swung on, foul, high and hard, and over the fun zone sign. Fun zone sign down the first base line.
What's the fun zone?
I'm not quite sure. Usually they have the fun zone set up over here, and they've got little things that it's for the Osprey games.
The fun zone's pointing to the beer garden.
How key is that? Runners at first and second, 2 outs. Pitch on the way. This one he'll reach for, and that one will foul right back into the same party deck area. Off the awning and catches somebody in the side of the head. I hope they're all right. Those balls coming off the bat have some velocity. White will come out and restock our umpire, Chris Aldinger.
No, he's all right. That bounced off the tent first. So that was
Took a little bit of that.
took a little heat off of it, but still tough dude out there.
Runners at first and second. Tie ball game at 3, bottom of the 6th. 0-2 count. Pitch away by McHugh. Swing on. This will go down the third base line. Buchanan will get it. The throw to first is there, and that will retire the side. Idaho will tie it up at 3 as we head into the 7th. We'll be back in 60 seconds on Fox Sports Radio, 1450 and 92.7. Welcome back to Fox Sports Radio 1450 and 92.7. Chris Stratton, Taylor Featherman, as we go to the top of the 7th, tied at 3 between Montana and Idaho. The winner moves on to the American Legion World Series in Shelby, North Carolina.
Spencer Jock now up to bat, Chris. A hefty bat as this first one will sail outside for Davis. That'll be ball 1.
They're going to record that as a strike.
Oh, pardon me. But Jock tonight, Chris, 3 for 3, 3 singles.
He'll reach for this one. He'll go down the third base line, foul, and Jock quickly an 0-2 count.
Davis at 79 total pitches here tonight, doing a pretty good job. 6 innings, 9 hits, 3 runs, 2 of which have been earned, and a strikeout.
0-2 count for the leadoff batter. Schock settles in. Pitch on the way. He'll reach for this one. It'll go down the first base line. It's going to go foul, and the right fielder can't get there in time, and he'll stay alive. In the on-deck circle for Montana is Drew Leonard.
That pitch there, that hit there by Schock, a ball that a little bit, I mean, fouled off kind of a check swing, not even a full swing through, but he still hit that, you know, all the way down the right field line to the fence.
Pitch on the way. Check swing. They say he didn't go. They're going to say pass ball. Schock will make his way down, and that'll be at number 1 as White steps on bag.
An uncaught strike, Chris. It happened. 2 strikes. Third one uncaught. Schock not quite got the wheels some of the other Mets players have to make their way down to first, but a strikeout nonetheless for Davis.
He's got wheels for a linebacker at Montana State, or I mean at the Montana Tech Diggers.
Absolutely, yeah. He's still fast, but just comparatively to some of the other Mavs.
First pitch will be swung on, foul, back into the Maverick dugout down the first baseline for strike 1. Want to send a special shout out and a thank you to the tournament directors here at the Northwest Regional Tournament, Paul Sopko, Matt Elson, Bill Dahlgren. They put this together to honor Dale Dahlgren, who has who did phenomenal things for this community, as that one's going to be low for a ball 1 to Leonard. Even count at 1. Dale Dahlgren doing a great deal of things for the community here athletic-wise. This one's going to be fouled off over the third base restrooms for strike 2.
Leonard 2 for 3 tonight up here at Dish. 2 singles and a line drive, but currently down 1 ball, 2 strikes.
But the group doing a phenomenal job hosting the tournament here. This one will be bounced down the first base line for foul ball, and he'll stay alive with a 1-2 count.
Led one of the more consistent bats on this team. 300 in the tournament so far, but 3 RBIs and 6 runs scored. One of the premier players on the Mavs at getting home once on base.
Settled in as McHugh's on the on deck. This one will foul back just about the same as the last one. Cannon will come out of the dugout with his glove on to get it. So a 1-2 count here with 1 out. Top of the 7th, tied at 3. Montana and Idaho. Pitch on the way. That one's in the dirt, and we'll even the count out at 2. Winner moves on to Shelby, North Carolina to represent the Northwest region in the American Legion World Series. That one will bean off the shoulder of Leonard, and he'll get the free base. Oh, they're going to say...
They're going to call that a foul.
They're going to call it a foul, and we saw this the other night with Ryan McHugh. He would take one off of the glove, and the umpire would ask to see it. Here comes Coach Hathaway down the line to speak with the umpire from up here, and Leonard checking his shoulder out, and Hathaway.
Well, was it Aldinger who was behind the bag when that happened to McHugh as well?
I believe so. He wanted to see McHugh. He had McHugh take his glove off, and then he told McHugh, quit shaking your hand. You're making your hand turn red, and made it go back into the box.
And at least from our perspective, I have about 98% certainty that that did ricochet off of McHugh's hand. But I have 100% certainty that that one was off of Leonard's shoulder right there.
And Hathaway will stroll back to the third base coach's box, and Leonard will settle back in with a full count at 3-2. 1 out, tie game at 3, top of 7. That pitch will go ahead and walk the batter, and that'll bring up pitcher Ryan McHugh.
I mean, Chris, you're a pretty sharp guy. The sound that a baseball makes when it hits a bat, especially an aluminum bat they use here, sounds so much different than when it hits a player in a hand or a shoulder or something.
Exactly right. And you can hear that up here as it does tick off.
But regardless, Ryan McHugh now up to bat 0-2 here tonight, but doing a great job on the bump.
On the way, this one's going to be hit past the third baseman. That'll bring Leonard to second. And with 1 out here, the Mavericks will have runners at first and second. And here comes the left fielder, Sam Busey. And that'll cause a conference with the pitching coach for Idaho and A.J. Davis. A.J. Davis doing a good job on the mound here, but starting to slip behind. We are in the top of the 7th, tied at 3 with 1 out. Both teams playing for a trip to Shelby, North Carolina. So both coaches keeping things tight, and here we have action now in the bullpen for Idaho. We'll see. We got number 10. That's Danny Robson stepping on the mound in the bullpen.
Well,
So with one out here, runners at first and second, Busey is ready for his first pitch. That one will be inside, ball one.
and Chris, we got to remember here, both teams to the very end of their pen. I mean, there's not a lot of arms left for either team, especially after a 15-inning game like we saw last night.
Pitch on the way, swung on. This one's going to go into center field. Center fielder's trying to get there, and he will have it in the glove for out number 2. And the runners hold at first and second. That'll bring up the shortstop, Brendan Buchanan.
Brendan Buchanan, one of the more, I would say, consistent players defensively on this map. He resides right over there at shortstop. We've seen him make plenty of plays. He's had a couple big double plays, especially last night in that game to help the Mavs keep things tied up in the 14th inning. A big play by
Pitch
Buchanan.
on the way outside for ball one, and Trent Richardson will go to the on circle. So with 2 outs here, there's runners at first and second. We're tied at 3 in the top of the 7th.
Also, he's got 2 doubles tonight. I feel like that's important.
This one will be fouled off into the Idaho dugout. Evens it out at 1. Evens count out at 1.
A.J. Davis now up to 95 pitches thrown here through 6 2/3 innings.
Runners at first and second, step away, swing and a miss for strike number 2 to Buchanan.
3-3 here, top of the 7th.
Pitch on the way. That one will strike out the batter to retire the side. So Montana, they'll put 2 on, they'll leave them there, and we'll go to the bottom of the 7th, tied at 7. Back in 60 seconds on Fox Sports Radio, 1450 and 92.7. Welcome back to Fox Sports Radio 1450 and 92.7. Chris Stratton, Taylor Featherman here at Ogren Park Allegiance Field. It's the 7th inning stretch, folks. I hope you are at home standing and stretching it out as everyone is here at the park. We're at the bottom of the 7th inning, tied at 3 between Montana and Idaho, and I just got word from above. The winner of this game going to Shelby, North Carolina for the series. They will face Bryant, Arkansas.
The Black Sox post 298.
And leading off the inning for Idaho will be the pitcher, A.J. Davis. Pitch on the way by McHugh. That one will catch the plate for strike 1.
Chris, McHugh at 82 pitch so far, and you got to keep in mind, Legion Baseball, a pitcher is not allowed to start a new batter after 120.
That one will be reached for. It'll bounce out. Shortstop picked up by Buchanan. A shot over there, and that one will get there in time. They say safe. Frazier had his foot on the bag, but he must have lifted it as the first base umpire, Eric Holden, called the runner safe. Holden out of Yakima, Washington.
So Mavs faithful in front of us not happy with that call.
And that'll bring up the first baseman, Luke White. Bottom of the 7th, high game at 3, and White will pop this one deep into center field. Jovetic will backpedal. He's looking for it in the sun, and he's got it in the glove, and that'll be out number 1. The runner will hold at first.
You know, there's fielders, outfielders specifically, we've seen in this tournament with a shot like that, being about, I don't know, what do you say, about 5 o'clock, sun high in the sky, and a moonshot that goes so arc out to there. There's fielders that you see, or that we've seen at least, where you're worried about a ball popping out like that, but Jovic is certainly not one of them.
That'll bring us to the third baseman, Jaden Phillips. 1 out, 1 on. Pitch on the way. That'll catch plate for strike 1. Bottom of the 7th. Tied 3 between Montana and Idaho. Chris Stratton, Taylor Featherman on Fox Sports Radio, 1450 and 92.7. Throw first for the pickoff, and the runner will get back standing up. Action in the bullpen is now Riley Way is warming up for Idaho. So we've seen 2 different pitchers warm up in the bullpen for Idaho. This one will be down the third base line into the glove of Richardson. He'll throw to second. They'll get that off the leadoff batter. And the turn of the double play. The Mavericks shut them down. We'll go to the top of the 8th. Tied at 3. Back at 60 seconds on Fox Sports Radio, 1450 and 92.7. Welcome back to Fox Sports Radio, 1450 and 92.7. Chris Stratton, Taylor Featherman here on the call for the 2017 American Legion Northwest Regional AA Championship game. Montana and Idaho. We're tied at 3 in the top of the 8th. And the leadoff batter here for Montana is the third baseman, Tread Richardson. On the mound for Idaho is A.J. Davis. The first pitch is on its way. This one will be hit into center field, bounces just past the fringe, and Richardson will get on to lead off, and that'll take us to the top of the batting order for Montana with the second baseman, Mr. Consistency, James Martin.
Well, and Trad Richardson now 2 for 4 with a pair of singles, and you know, sending James Martin up to bat is usually not a good thing, but now with runner on, Lewis and Clark may be in for a tough inning.
Show a bunt, it's laid down nicely. The pitcher's got it, the pitch to first. There's out number 1, but the damage done as Richardson is at second. And that'll bring us up the center fielder, Nick Jovic.
Jovic during this tournament, Chris, and this is kind of a crazy stat line. 2 doubles, 2 triples, a home run, 6 total RBIs, and that's just in 11 hits.
Pitch on the way. That one's going to be high for a ball.
But Jovic, during the regular season, broke the Missoula Mavericks' existing single-season triple record. He's Mr. Triple around this neighborhood.
And that one will bean off the hip of Jovic, and he'll get the free base.
And no contention there by Chris Alding. He sends Jovic. Boy, can you imagine the outroar then?
Oh, Dane Frazier, the first baseman, comes to the plate now, and that will send the head coach, Maurer, out to the mound to speak with Davis. Let's see if we have a pitching change here. We've had 2 conferences on the mound with Idaho.
Well, we've seen someone warming up now, and we're not going to get a change. A.J. Davis will continue. He's at 102 total, but I think they want to get everything they can out of him. As I was saying, only 120 pitches until you can. I mean, you cannot start a batter after 120. If you get to a new batter at 119, that's all good. You can exceed 120. You just can't start a new batter once you reach it.
And they're having not quite sure who they're trying to talk to. They kept looking back. So with runners at first and second with 1 out, that brings up Dane Frazier. Oh, they're saying there's just 1 out as they've got 2 up on the board. Okay, well, that's what they're trying to figure out.
That improves the situation for the Mavs. Runners at first and second now for Dane Frazier with only 1 out.
Pitch on the way. That one catches the plate for strike 1. Top of the 8th, tied at 3. Montana and Idaho in the championship game for the 2017 American Legion Northwest Regional AA Tournament. Winner moves on. Pitch on the way. Outside for a ball. Evens the count out at 1.
Frazier,
Whoever moves on will play Bryant, Arkansas, as I've been informed.
the Black Sox.
Runners step away from first and second. Even count at 1. Pitch on the way. That one will catch the plate to make it strike 2. Spencer Schock in the on-deck circle. 1 out. Top of 8. Tied at 3.
Dane Frazier 1 for 3 here tonight with a single, a walk, and a pair of flyouts. Let's see if he can keep it rolling here against Davis.
With the pitch. And they'll strike out the batter. There's the phone book rip that Featherman's been looking for. And that'll bring us to Spencer Schock with 2 out and runners at first and second.
Trying to get updated pitch count here for Davis, and I do. 107 is his current pitch count, 20 of which are in the zone. Attack.
Schock settles in, pitch on the way. That one will be outside for ball 1. Drew Leonard moves to the on-deck circle for Montana. Runners at first and second step away. 2 outs. Top of the 8th, tied at 3, Montana and Idaho. The pitch by Davis swung on. This was going to go foul down the first base line. Land in the general admission, seating about 3 rows up.
Schock.
Evens the count at 1 for Schock with 2 outs.
Schock here tonight, Chris. 3 for 4 with 3 singles.
And Aldinger will step in front of the plate to clean it off. Runners step away from their bases. 2 outs. Schock with an even count 1. The pitch by Davis. That one will catch the outside of the plate for strike 2.
This is a big at-bat for the Mavericks here. Top of the 8th, seeing if they can add a run. Since Lewiston Clark is the home team, they do get to bat in the bottom of the innings.
Pitch on the way. Swung on. This is going to go out into right field. It'll bounce. Here comes Richardson around. Hathaway says, go home. Jovetic around the corner. And the Mavericks take a 5-3 lead here in the top of the 8th with the double rip by Spencer Schock.
Spencer Schock has to be in the running for postseason MVP if the Mavs can pull this off. I mean, 4-5 now with 3 singles and a double. And last night, Chris, Missoula Mavericks would actually go down. Let me find my sheet here. There we go. So in the 11th inning, the Mavs would actually go down 5-4 and have just the bottom of the inning. And with 2 outs, Spencer Schock hit a ball just like that, Chris, when the pressure was absolutely at his highest, proving that he is a prime-time performer here in crunch time.
And now they are putting Ricky's Evans warming up in bullpen for the Mavericks, and we have a switch, a call to the bullpen for Idaho. We'll stop back in 60 seconds and let you know what's going on. Back in 60 seconds on Fox Sports Radio, 1450 and 92.7.
Beep.
Welcome back to Fox Sports Radio, 1450 and 92.7. Chris Stratton, Taylor Featherman here on the call of the game, and we have a call to the bullpen for Idaho as Danny Robinson now comes in to pitch. He was set up as, no, he was not set up as a DH. They're not hitting with a DH in this game. And Drew Leonard will be the batter here with 2 outs. Mavericks lead 5-3 over the Twins with a runner at second, Spencer Schock. Two-step lead out there, and they're warming up Ricky Stevens, the closer, in the bullpen. Here's the pitch. That one will be the dirt for ball one.
Well, Chris,
Top of the 8th inning here.
the final stat line, for A.J. Davis, 7 2/3 innings of work, 12 hits allowed, 5 runs, 4 of which were earned, 2 walks, 4 strikeouts, a hit by pitch.
That one will be low for a ball. Leonard being patient here.
His final pitch count, 111 pitches, 73 of which were in the zone. Drew Leonard 2 for 3 tonight, pair of singles and a walk.
Pitch on the way. Swung on. Foul down the first base line for strike one. 2-1 count here. 2 outs. Top of the 8th. Mavericks lead 5-3.
Chris, Danny Robinson was the DH in the game just prior to this, and he was struggling at the plate his last few games, ending up 0 for 7 last night against the Mavericks, and then just 1 for 5 here today against Yakima.
He'll check Schock at second. Now that's going to be a high pitch. Schock way out there on that one. He had a heavy 3, maybe even a 3.5 step lead. So Ryder Schultz will be done on the game, and that one's fouled off.
We'll now see Aldinger pretty much walk out and hand the ball to Robinson. Just had a word to say to him there. But Drew Leonard will step back into the batter's box here. 2 for 3 once again. His only miss here tonight was that big line drive, but that even ended up advancing the runners.
So a full count at 3-2, 2 outs, Schock at second. Mavericks lead 5-3 in the top of the 8th. Pitch on the way, and they'll walk Leonard to bring up the laser, Ryan McHugh.
That's just a good eye there by Leonard to know. I mean, at the moment there, the magnitude of that moment, full count, 2 outs, pitch comes high, and it wasn't overly high. It was top of the zone at least. But to lay off that one, that's a great eye by Drew Leonard. And now Ryan McHugh, 1 for 3 coming up. He had that big single last at bat.
Pitch on the way. Catch the outside of the plate for strike one. Sam Busey in the on-deck circle. Runners at first and second. 2 outs. Top of the 8th. Mavericks lead 5-3. Winner moves on as the champion of the Northwest region. Goes to Shelby, North Carolina. Pitch on the way. That one will catch the plate on the outside on the right-handed batter for strike 2.
Interesting pitch style so far by Robinson. He's laying a lot of stuff low in the zone, and the speed mid-70s-ish.
Runner step, pitch on the way. That one in the dirt, and we'll have ball 1 to McHugh.
He got that one up 83 on that one on the outside. Interesting. A lot of range here so far by Danny Robinson on speeds.
McHugh settles in. Runner step away from their bases at first and second. 2 outs, top of the 8th. 5-3 Montana over Idaho. McHugh shot down third base line. It will land foul right at the fence, right on the yellow bar.
Ooh. Chris, I don't know. Fans in front of us are upset about that. I mean, you would have to have a magnifying glass, a telescope, and an instant replay video to make an accurate call there.
Or just RJ Hens.
That hit literally right at the base of that white stake or yellow stake out there to signal the foul line.
All kinds of grumbling coming from the stands here. We got a good field here.
RJ Hens official ruling, hit the bar, should have been fair. Not our word, Chris.
Right at the base of the bar where it comes in and meets the white line. Pitch on the way. McHugh check swing, and they look down the line, and he did not go, and he'll stay alive. It'll be a ball, even count at 2.
Well, Chris, and if that was ruled fair, I mean, that was here in the corner. That wasn't going to be an easy ball for Chase Atkinson to snag out there. Or, I'm sorry, not Chase. He's right field. I apologize. Cole Olson out there in left field to snag. I imagine that would score 1, possibly 2.
Pitch on the way. This one's going to be hit down the same line. It's got legs. It's going. And it's going to be in the glove at the wall by the left fielder, and that will retire the side. The Mavericks take a 5-3 lead. We go to the bottom of the 8th. Back in 60 seconds on Fox Sports Radio, 1450 and 92.7. Welcome back to Fox Sports Radio, 1450 and 92.7. Chris Stratton, Taylor Featherman on the call here at Ogren Park Allegiance Field for the 2017 American Legion Northwest Regional AA Tournament. Missoula Mavericks representing the Montana, the Lewis and Clark Twins representing Idaho. The winner moves on, and right now Montana leads 5-3 in the bottom of the 8th, and the leadoff batter on the inning for Idaho will be our right fielder, Chase Atkinson.
Ryan McHugh still on the bump for the Mavericks, 87 pitches, no reason to not be there currently. But Ricky Stevens has been warming up, so if something were to happen, they do have backup.
Pitch on the way. This one's going to catch the outside of the plate for strike one. And as soon as those 2 runs scored, Hathaway, without even a hesitation, signals to have the closer Ricky Stevens go and warm up. Pitch on the way by McHugh. That one will catch the outside of the plate for strike 2. In the on-deck circle for Idaho is number 10, Danny Robinson. Pitch on the way. This one off the ground, past the third baseman, will roll out into left field, and taking a knee is Busey to get there. And with no outs, Idaho's got a runner on, and here comes Danny Robinson. And as Taylor said, he struggled in the previous game.
Previous 2 games, that big 15-inning game, 0 for 7, and just earlier today, 1 for 5. But that one he did end up hitting was a big double. So he's got it. He's got it.
Pitch on the way, catches the outside of the plate on the left-handed bat for strike 1. No outs, a runner at first. Montana leads Idaho 5-3 in the bottom of the 8th. Ryan McHugh on the mound with the pitch. That one will be low. It'll even it out at 1. In the on deck is Jackson Fuller. McHugh checks the runner at first, got a half a step, now inches out to a step lead. Pitch on the way, swung on. Martin will get it in the dirt, the throw to first, and that will be the out. Number 1 on the inning, and that will bring up Jackson Fuller for the 4th time today.
Jackson.
And Colt Olson goes to the on deck.
And there is Jackson Fuller. Jackson Fuller, 1 for 3 tonight with a single and a strikeout and a K, or a strikeout and a flyout, excuse me.
Runner at first, pitch on the way. Or runner at second, pitch on the way, outside for all.
Ryan McHugh, I better pull up his full stats. Still only sitting at 93 pitches, 64 of which in the zone. 10 hits allowed, which is high, but only 3 runs produced from those, 2 of which were earned.
McHugh checks the runner at second, 2-step lead. The pitch, slice the plate for strike 1. Even count at 1, 1 out, a runner at second for Idaho. They trail Montana 5-3 in the bottom of the 8th. Winner moves on to the 2017 Legion World Series in Shelby, North Carolina. McHugh with the pitch. This one will be swung on down the third base line. Richards can't get it. It'll kiss the third base line. Run comes around from second and will come home. And Idaho will pull within 1, making it 5-4 with 1 out here. And that'll swing us to the top of the batting order to Riley Way. No, Colt Olson. Riley Way will clean the bat out of the area there for Colt. So 1 down, 1 on at first, and it's now 5-4 Montana over Idaho. Pitch on the way. This one hit out in the center field. Jovetic comes up. It'll come on the hop. And they'll have runners at first and second. And now we'll swing to the top of the batting order for Riley Way.
First and second, only one out here. Colt Olson 2 for 2. Now 3 for 3 with a double, 2 singles, and he's been hit by one pitch. Colt Olson had a phenomenal night, and out left field, giant, when McHugh hit that bomb to the wall, the leaping catch that tore down a banner. Colt Olson having a great game.
Alex Light in the on deck. McHugh checks the runner at second. Now the pitch. That one is low for ball 1.
And down there looked like 67. He took a lot of speed off that one. It's still hard to see the MPH sign out there in field because of the sun, but I'll do my best.
Pitch on the way. Outside for ball 2. 1 out here in the bottom of the 8th. Montana leads Idaho 5-4, but they're threatening with runners at first and second. Riley Way in the box. He'll settle in. Ryan McHugh on the mound. McHugh settles. Shock behind the plate, and now the pitch. That one skins the plate, and McHugh climbs into the count at 2-1.
That one there looked like 84 to me, Chris. Right down the pipe, but on the outside of the zone, right on the right wall of the box.
McHugh settles, checks the runner at second. Now the pitch. That one catches the plate for strike 2, and we've got even count at 2 with runners at first and second and 1 out. 5-4 Montana in the bottom of the 8th. Last night we would go 15 innings between these two teams. Pitch on the way. That one's high, and we'll go to a full count. We thought about going on that one, but laid off.
And as I'm sure it's fully evident, as you can hear through our microphones, the Maverick fans, who are a majority of the attendance here, are upset about that call.
We've got a great crowd here at Ogren Park Allegiant Field. McHugh will step off the mound. Bay will practice swing. Now he steps back in. Right-handed batter. Runners at first and second, 1 out. Full count at 3-2. Bottom of the 8th, 5-4 Montana, but Idaho threatening. Pitch away by McHugh. This was going to be right into the glove. The throw to second to get the double play, and they hold him off. We'll go to the top of the 9th with Montana leading 5-4. Back in 60 seconds on Fox Sports Radio, 1450 and 92.7. Welcome back to Fox Sports Radio 1450 and 92.7. Chris Stratton, Taylor Featherman here on call at Ogren Park Legion Field. Before we get to the action in the top of the 9th here, we have an update from California. Mount Sentinel leads Alaska 4-0 at the first inning with the Little League going on right now in California. Right now here at Ogren Park Legion's Field, the top of the 9th, Montana leads Idaho 5-4, and our leadoff batter is Sam Busey.
Busey 0 for 4 here tonight with a couple of groundouts and a couple of flyouts. We'll see if he can right the ship here against Danny Robinson. 11 pitches in for Robinson. Chris, we are in the 9th inning of a championship.
That's right, the 2017 American Legion Northwest Regional Championship game. And Busey will swing and foul this one off into the netting for strike 1.
Busey only a 200 batting average so far throughout this tournament, but 5 RBIs, which is among the top ranks of the team.
Pitch on the way, outside for a ball.
And he gets on base a ton. A lot of walks for Busey.
Busey settles in. Pitch on the way. That one's high for ball 2. 2-1 count here for Busey. Leadoff batter in the top of the 9th. Montana leading 5-4 over Idaho. Winner is the champion and moves on to the American Legion World Series. So cut on that one, but it'll be a strike. He actually caught just a piece of it, and that will be an even count at 2. In the on deck is Brennan Buchanan. This one bounced out, picked up by the set shortstop. The throw to first is there in time. That'll be out number 1.
And here comes the young man, Chris, Brandon Buchanan. We've talked about it plenty of times here in the past few podcasts, but Buchanan called up from the A squad just, 2 weeks before the end of the season?
That's right, 2 weeks before the end of the regular season, he would be called from the A squad and filled into that shortstop position phenomenally.
And if you didn't know any better, you'd think he's one of the veterans the way he plays.
That one's fouled off hand grips for strike 1. Trad Richardson in the on deck circle for Montana. 1 out here, top of the 9th. Montana leads 5-4 over Idaho. Pitch on the way. This one will be hit out towards the shortstop. He'll get it in the dirt. The throw first will not be in time, and Buchanan will reach as the stadium erupts.
Buchanan showing off the wheels there. Clean fielded there by the shortstop, Riley Way. And he didn't mess around with it. He whipped right to first as fast as he could to his man, Luke White. But Buchanan just showing off wheels.
With 1 down and 1 on, Trad Richardson steps in the box. Montana leads 5-4 over Idaho. Danny Robinson checks a runner at first, and now the pitch. That will be high and outside on the right-handed batter for ball 1.
Trad 2 for 4 here tonight with a couple of singles. If he can keep it rolling here, I mean, this is where you find your PTP right here.
James Martin in the on deck. Robinson checks the runner first. 1-step lead. Pitch on the way. Swung on. This is going to be hit out to the shortstop. He'll get it in the dirt. The throw to second is there. The throw to first there in time. And the retire the side. We go to the bottom of the 9th in the championship game. Montana leading 5-4. We'll be back in 60 seconds of Fox Sports Radio, 1450 and 92.7. And look at who's up for the order. Welcome back to Fox Sports Radio 1450 and 92.7. Chris Stratton, Taylor Featherman in the box here as we are set to go for the bottom of the 9th. All the marbles here for Idaho. They're down 5-4 to Montana, and the most lethal part of batting order for Idaho on the inning. The 2-3-4 batters, the center fielder Alex Light leading off for Idaho.
Ryan Q still on the mound for the Mavericks, 102 pitches. Like I was saying earlier, you can't start a new batter after that, as this first pitch is going to be hit right into center field, and that will be a base hit to lead off here for Lewiston Clark. A nice shot there by Light, and that's what you're hoping for the Mavericks. But
that'll bring us A.J. Davis with 1 on. Ryan McHugh on the mound. And Luke White going to the on-deck circle. Ryan McHugh with the pitch. This one bunted high. It'll go into the netting for strike 1. Ricky Stevens started to come out of the dugout between innings, and then Hathaway having him come back in, and Ryan McHugh will finish it out. Runner steps from first. No outs. 0-1 count. McHugh will go back to first. Runner there in time. We've got a new first baseman as Clayton Frankie has stepped in, and Dane Frazier is done for the afternoon. 0-1 count. Pitch on the way. Bunt laid down. Nicely laid down. McHugh will pick it up. The throw to first is there in time, and that will be out number one.
Wow.
Runner advances to second, and here comes the heavy bat of the first baseman, Luke White.
Well, Chris, and I like that move by Coach Hathaway to leave McHugh out there. He started this. Let's give him a shot to try to finish it. Now at 104 pitches, he has 16 left before he can't start a new batter. With one out here, we'll have to keep an eye on that.
Jaden Phillips in the on deck. McHugh checks runner at second. Pitch on the way. That one will be low for ball one. White settles back in. Runner steps from second. Two-step lead. One out here. Bottom of the ninth. 5-4 Montana over Idaho. Pitch on the way. Swung on. This one's going to go into left field, and it's going to go all the way to the wall. Runner will come around from second. He'll soar. Jovetic will pick it up in the warning track, and they'll have a runner at second with one out here, tied at 5.
Chris.
And here comes the third baseman, Jaden Phillips.
Jaden Phillips, otherwise known as the man who hit a solo home run over left field earlier in the ballgame. He's capable, and McHugh will stay on the bump, it appears, with 106 pitches now. That was a big shot by Luke White, Chris. We knew he was capable of it, too.
Jade Phillips clearing out the box to settle it for himself. The on-deck man, Chase Atkinson. Runner at second is White. McHugh looks toward the dugout, and they call time, and they will intentionally walk Phillips because he's spanked one over the wall already today.
And that's a good move. Intentionally walk Phillips, move down to Atkinson, and now you have a forced play opportunity from first to second. Try and get a double play, perhaps.
Tie game at 5, bottom of the 5th.
Bottom of the ninth.
Bottom of the 9th, I apologize. Pitch on the way by McHugh. That one will catch the outside of the plate for strike one. Tied at 5, just like last night it was tied at 4 at the end of the 9th. Runners at first and second. McHugh checks runner at second, and now the pitch. This one hit. This one's going to roll into left field, and they'll hold the runners. Loaded bases with one out here, and that will bring up Danny Robinson for Idaho.
Now the Mavericks are playing with fire. Bases loaded, one out, and
And the pitching coach for Montana will head to the mound to speak to McHugh. I don't see Ricky Stevens standing in the stairwell.
The infamous Connor Dwyer now.
He'll come out and converse with McHugh on the mound. Schock is out there as well. Just a quick check-in with McHugh. And we'll get back to the action. Loaded bases here. One out, bottom of the 9th, tied at 5. The drama in the building builds.
Danny Robinson, a player who struggled pretty severely from the mount or from the plate. Now
McHugh takes his time, takes a deep breath, and now the pitch. That one will be outside on the plate for strike one. One out here, bottom of the 9th, tied at 5. Montana and Idaho, the winner, will be the champion of the Northwest Regional Tournament and move on to Shelby, North Carolina. McHugh with the pitch. That one will be low and even out at 1. Loaded bases with one out. Schock relays the pitch. McHugh settles. It's on its way. That one's outside for a ball. It's a 2-1 count now. Schock relays. McHugh settles. Loaded bases. One out. Pitch on the way. Swung on and fouled off for strike 2.
Even count now, 2-2, Chris. This is probably the biggest moment of the ball game, if not the entire season for the Missoula Mavericks. It all comes down right here, Chris.
McHugh settles. Checks the runners. Now the pitch. This one's going to be hit. It's going to roll past the third baseman, and the Twins will win Northwest Regional Tournament 6-5 over Montana as they crowd on the first baseman. Right there, we'll step aside for 3 minutes on Fox Sports Radio, 1450 and 92.7.